of the range.
A
hangnail.
A hangnail.
Yeah, I'm glad you had that wrong.
In Alaska. Just hangnailing in Alaska. Anchorage.
Anchorage, Alaska. So, just so I'm clear, like the white snow and rock where it gets kind of gray, that's the water.
That's, yeah.
But it's
But
frozen.
it's froze on top.
In the summer, you take off, you go sea kayaking right from here.
Can you walk on it? Is it that frozen
No.
and strong?
No. It's icebergs. It's tipping and spinning. And
Oh, really?
So right now, you're not seeing much motion because I think it's probably like at slack tide, but when the tides are moving, that's probably going at like 15, 20 miles an hour.
As a whole.
As a whole.
This whole thing?
Just out
The
past,
gray
past the
part.
rock.
Yeah.
Really?
And we'll get on Turnagain Arm and you'll see it down there, and it's just... So Turnagain Arm, around the corner from the airport, and then it goes way down to Portage Glacier. It's a famous place for what's called a boar tide. So what happens is you have this huge river and the Portage Glacier pouring in from the south, and it's going towards the north. And then the ocean is, because of the tides, is going the opposite direction. So the current hits, and you get this thing, it's a standing wave.
Yeah.
And it just moves really slow, and it's a real hard thing to watch because you're like, the water on one side is going this direction, and the water this way is going this way, and there's a standing wave, and it's going over the top of it as the tide goes over the current. And a lot of people go in there and paddle, but if the tide comes down, it turns into a massive mud flat, and tons of people have gotten killed in there because they'll be out there paddling or something, and they get stuck in the mud.
And then the tide comes back
Their boats get stuck in the mud, and it used to be like people have been pulled in half because their legs were stuck, and the helicopters have ripped them in half.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
yeah.
Nasty.
So like when people, unbeknownst to them, they don't understand the boar tide because there's only a few of them in the world.
So they'll get like mucked in the mud, and then here comes the tide.
Because it's miles
Next
and
thing
miles.
you know,
There's no
blood
way
and
to get
guts
to 'em.
everywhere.
Ripped right in
That face
half.
again.
Half people.
Yeah.
Half people.
It's a
Joe
land of
Beamer
half
Road, I
people.
love
Half
that.
people bay.
Everywhere in Alaska, there's helicopters flying around
like Grendel.
with half